What is going on, everybody? It is the Going Over Big Time podcast. I am Mike Charlotte, and I am joined once again by my friend and co host, Alan. The Fantastic. Alan, you can't possibly be doing as well as I am doing the night after the Knicks are the NBA champions for the first time in 53 years. That's why I'm wearing this shirt. Once a Knick, always a Knick. I am ecstatic. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I mean, I was rooting for the Knicks too, to be honest. Just more, I guess, for geographic reasons. New York is closer to Toronto than it is from Texas, so uh, yeah, good for you, man. I mean, I can understand how to break a sports team breaking a long drought like that. You know, I'm still waiting for our Toronto Maple Leafs to win the Stanley Cup, which has been almost 60 years at this point.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, the last time that our Toronto Raptors won the NBA championship was 2019. So that was we can kind of imagine what it's like for you guys. Although the Raptors had never won the championship before until then, so
yeah.
that was
It,
basically our first time. So
it's been
it's
53 long years for Knicks fans. Obviously,
I see.
I was not around for that,
Yeah.
but I was alive the last time they made the finals, which was in 1999. Um, but I was 9 years old when that happened, and they
Mm.
lost. Um, but yeah, I'm over the moon about it. We're not really here to talk about that. I just can't I can't stop thinking about it. It just happened yesterday, time of recording, so
Yeah.
it's very up there in my brain right now. But what we are here to talk about is there's a lot of things going on in the wrestling world these days, and we're here to break down and discuss some of the major storylines going on in the two big American companies, AEW and WWE. There's a lot happening. Some of it is good, some of it is great, some of it is really bad in both on both sides. Um, Not a lot of really bad on the AEW side. A lot of just kind of confusing stuff on the AEW side, which we will get into. Mostly about the women, which is something we've talked about a lot. And the WWE side is, oh boy. That's really all I can say about that. But yeah, I figured we will start with WWE because the thing that we've kind of been discussing most frequently recently, because it's happening right now, is the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. And I did not like the way they set it up with multiple fatal four ways in the first round. I think that that's lazy. I think that that's
I
very
was a little confused about that when I saw the brackets. I didn't even see that it was like fatal four ways. I just saw like what are we talking about? 16 guys. I was like, oh yeah, these are good matchups. Well, you have like Finn Balor, Royce Keys, and then I found out. Wait, why are they doing fatal four ways? Because I saw a match take place and I looked at the brackets and wait, oh, they're doing it like this. I was just like, oh, I mean, I didn't mind. I like fatal four way matches. They're always kind of fun. You kind of just don't know the unknown elements kind of involved. But I wasn't sure if like a King of the Ring tournament was good enough for that because you want to highlight some of your like new talent versus your established talent, that kind of thing. But this was just kind
sure,
of like
but I mean
throwing
the
everybody in
biggest
together.
the biggest thing about it that bugs me is that you want to have as many people in there as possible, right? But you don't want to book as many singles matches out of laziness, which is because they don't want to have more than four wrestling matches on their weekly television, which is still very annoying. Um, but yeah, and also they just like without saying anything, everybody in the first round was two guys from Raw and two guys from SmackDown. And before they even announced it, they just showed the graphic of Finn Balor being on SmackDown before even telling us that he was now on SmackDown. And my continued it's never going to go away until they actually fix it. My continued frustration about the brand split, where it just absolutely does not matter. And even though they every single week will be like, oh, well, Sami Zayn's on SmackDown, so he can't go to Raw. But then you just have these random tournament matches where everybody just goes to every show. It's annoying as hell, and it's never not going to bother me. I don't care anymore if it bothers anybody else. It's never not going to bother me. And they also told us in this tournament that SmackDown does not matter because all of the first round winners were from Raw. All of them. You had Obafemi win one. You had Javon Evans win one. You had Jey Uso win one. And who's the other one that I'm forgetting?
Dominic Mysterio.
Oh, that's why I'm forgetting it, because I hate him. And it's so annoying that if Obafemi does not win, that is not okay, based on who the winners are.
So I saw this is a Facebook meme kind of thing, right? I actually sent it to the other Mike. I told him like the road here. It's I don't know if you see it. You can't see it here, but basically it shows. This guy says the road to the championship. Oba wins against Dominic. Jay's gonna beat Javon. Finals are gonna be Oba and Jey Uso. Jay wins because Brock Lesnar comes in and interferes in the match. You're gonna get King Jay versus Cody at SummerSlam, and that's how Jay gets the title. Which, frankly, up till Jay winning the King of the Ring, it's a terrible scenario. Because I'm like, I don't really want Jey Uso as the winner.
No,
because like
of course you had all of the mid card champions in the tournament. You had tag team champions in the tournament. You had people in the tournament that like, why was Tala Tonga in here? And then they took him out and replaced him with somebody else.
Well, eventually, no, Tala Tonga was in the match. There was a small mistake they kind of put in there, and then they guess changed it because it was like they took out Tala Tonga and Ricky Saints, and then randomly just put in Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre. Drew hasn't had anything since WrestleMania, and Drew's been gone off television since then. And then suddenly it just looks like Ricky Saints and Tala Tonga were back in the tournament. So I don't know. I think somebody made a mistake there in advertising that. Yeah.
Break down like, okay, so Obafemi won his first round match by beating Carmelo Hayes, Solo Sikoa, and Penta. Why? Okay, sure. Then Dominic won his match by beating 3 people that he should never beat. Braun Breaker, Trick Williams, and Damian Priest.
Oh boy. I'm like, I don't know why Trick didn't win that. Because there's a natural storyline you could put Oba versus Trick, again, but we only saw that on NXT. That was a clear callback you could have made. And then I will have to say I was pleasantly surprised that Seth did not win in the match with Javon and I can't remember off the top of my head who are the other 2 participants in that fatal 4-way.
Trying to pull it up.
Okay.
I had it. Yeah. Okay. I had it, and now it's not loading. There it goes. All right. So Javon won against Seth Talatonga and Ricky Saints.
Okay.
Um, and he lost because of something that we're going to talk about in a little while. Seth versus the Vision is not fucking over. That's why Seth lost. It's and then you had Jay win his match against L.A. Knight, Royce Keys, and Finn Balor because L.A. Knight is just randomly feuding with the Bloodline because he's tired of the Bloodline and saying like, "Oh, all this shit has been happening since 2023 and it's not over," and blah blah. We're going to talk about that as well. But yeah, so your semifinals are four people from Raw, Obafemi taking on Dominic, and Javon taking on Jay. Ideally, in my head, the final should be Javon versus Oba, with Oba winning. And then Brock can come back after the tournament because you can have Oba versus Brock sometime in July and then have um, Oba beat Roman at SummerSlam. Easy. It writes itself. That's how it should happen. Roman does not need to hold his belt past SummerSlam. Roman doesn't. I mean, he should have lost it to Jacob, but that's besides the point. But now we're just retreading all of this stuff. And on the women's side, let's talk about the women's side now. The women's side. Now remember, and I forgot to mention this, the winners of these tournaments get title matches at SummerSlam. Remember that little detail when I talked about the women. So, on the women's side, we had one fatal four way, Sol Ruka versus uh, Lyra Valkyria versus Charlotte versus Jade. Another one was Bailey versus Raquel versus JC Jane versus Kiana James. Another one was Roxanne versus Io versus Julia versus Ash. And the other one, which happened to be the first match that they had in the freaking tournament, was Becky Lynch, the Intercontinental Champion, taking on Alexa, Chelsea, and the Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan.
So Becky lost the Intercontinental title by now. So Ruka is now
Oh,
the
yeah, she
Intercontinental
lost it by the
champion.
match. Okay, yeah.
But to your point, why is the women's world champion in the King of the Ring tournament, whereby the winner gets a world title match?
Yeah.
I guess her logic was like, I want all the gold, so she's gonna challenge for the other one.
Well, and they had that stupid thing where they had Liv and Rhea like pass each other in the hallway like two
Yeah,
pay-per-views ago, which
yeah.
I couldn't believe was a thing that was happening. Like because Liv won the world title at WrestleMania, has not defended it once since winning it. It's been 60 plus days since she defended the belt. And now she's in this tournament not defending the belt. A logical thing would have been, and again, I know which company I'm talking about, and saying use in logic anything logical just doesn't mesh with WWE as a whole. But a logical thing would have been to have her defend her belt in every tournament match if you're going to have her in the tournament. And if she loses, then the person who wins the belt can just have a rematch with her at the pay per view. Easy. But no, they have to make this super freaking complicated. Where, like, if Liv actually wins, she's probably going to face Rhea, which is stupid. Just have a new contender established and have Liv have actual title matches. And the excuse that everybody's throwing around is that she was supposed to continue her feud with Stephanie after Mania, but because of that, she's not defending her belt. And
Yeah,
why is
because Stephanie's out with an injury, and like, are you telling me as a because one person is injured, they can't figure out other people to be like title contenders?
exactly?
It is crazy that she hasn't defended it since winning the belt, and that was like 50 plus days ago. And now she's in the tournament to get a title match when she is herself the champion. Yeah, like your thing would be like, oh yeah, it's that actually would like your idea would actually make it make sense a little bit, but when you are in company when you have 50 writers instead of one booker making the final say, it's kind of hard to get consistency in your product.
And a little transparency here. We are recording this on June 14th. As we speak, the UFC Freedom event that is taking place outside the White House is taking place. And Dana White, in all of his conceited glory, is walking out with the president at the White House. Camera right on them the entire time. So that's happening. So Liv wins her match, of course. Charlotte wins her match after her and Jade, which it seems like that they're going to her and Jade at SummerSlam. Jade had a malfunction of the hair in that match. Io won her match, and Raquel won her match. Raquel is to face Io, and Charlotte is to face Liv. Raquel is, for some reason, finally giving a shit about the fact that her and Liv are in the same tournament, and looks very aggravated every time Liv talks about her winning the tournament. So I think we're gonna get a Liv versus Raquel final, which I hate because it's so dumb. Because Raquel's not gonna win if that's the final.
Yeah,
Which is even worse because then you have a champion winning the tournament for a shot at a title while she's still not defending her belt. It's crazy.
it's pretty stupid. I was like, is this turning into a whole Judgment Day thing? Like, I don't know why they're pushing Liv to this point. Like, where how somehow she is like untouchable because she doesn't need to defend her title. She's got a new theme song out. She made this like weird music video, and now she's in. And now like she's just dominating everything. I don't get it. Like it's not. It's kind of boring. Like we were looking at like some kind of Judgment Day split, and now it's just like they're just like, oh, forget it. Let's just make them more powerful than ever.
Yeah, I heard everything you said, but you went robot for a minute, so hopefully it's okay. Yeah, I just don't get it. And all right, so now we can move on to this topic because it plays into what we were talking about with Jay. The Bloodline is still a thing, and it's worse than ever because this is shit that was happening 4 years ago, and it's still happening after everything that's happened. Freaking Jay and Jimmy just went on their own path. Jay became a world champion, even though that was probably a bad idea. And now, because Roman is a world champion again, they're just back being his lackeys. And they switched solo with Jacob. Because Jacob lost a match to Roman in tribal combat where he had to acknowledge the tribal chief and do everything that Roman asked of him. So we're just right back where we were 3, 4 years ago. And LA Knight is there, like, what is wrong with you guys? Why are you blindly following Roman again? Like, are you stupid?
These are legitimate questions. These are
And
like, yeah, guys.
and it's becoming a continued topic of these, like, Roman became a babyface after losing the title, after learning absolutely nothing. He just became a babyface because everybody was like, "Oh, he's not the champion anymore. Reign of Terror's over. We like him now." He's literally never changed as a character, not one time. He's still a selfish prick. He still treats his family like garbage. He still does
What does that
nothing
say?
ridiculous.
What does that say about the fan base? That look, I don't know whose fault this is, but it seems to me it's not Roman's fault. Roman has been consistent in the character since 2020, right? He came back as this guy who's out for himself, won the Universal title, held it for a record 4-year reign, which in modern history is the longest reign in our lifetime. Yeah, like you said, he's been a selfish prick the entire time. Now there are certain elements where he's like a little bit nicer, but other than that, like Jay and Jimmy are still like holding his bucket of water, and you know, that Jay, they had a challenge to the head of being the head of the table from Jacob now instead of like Jay himself, and I guess later Solo. And now, but it's the same story. Roman is the center of it. You only tweaked it a little bit, but it's the same thing. And I am kind of confused. I am not as upset as you are. I'm just confused as to like, okay, the only consistency is Roman being Roman. Other than that, uh, like there's nothing imaginative here. There's nothing like surprising or, I mean, I do not see Solo and his MFTs, whatever's left of them, as any significant threat whatsoever. Um, but it's just like, what does that say about the fan base that they raise the ones and still every time Roman comes out, and no matter how he is, I think Roman, at least the only thing he changed is he appreciates the fans more, or at least acknowledges them more in a positive light, rather than just saying that you're all beneath me and all that stuff that he was doing while under Paul Heyman. But yeah, I don't know what the direction is for continuing the storyline the way it is, just doing the same version of Bloodline all over again, and not like trying something different. Like we said, you would have shaken things up if Jake had actually won the title. Like, what the heck was going to happen to Roman, right? And then you could take him off TV for a bit and have just Jacob run roughshod through everybody. And then, yeah, that'll make Jay and Jimmy his lackeys. That would have been more interesting to look at. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know why you're doing that.
I mean, and I fully expect, like, if Roman loses the belt at SummerSlam, for him to go away again, which is what we expect. Like, I'm surprised he stayed as long as he has the past few months, since March. He's been consistently on TV for the first time in like 5 years.
Yeah, because a while ago he said like, "Oh yeah, all that part-time stuff that's done now. I'm here now." So I'm at least glad he was doing that, because he wasn't here before, and
Well,
it
yeah,
was
and
like
that was our
he was the
biggest
champion.
concern. That was our biggest concern going into the CM Punk match. Was like, okay, he's going to win, and we're not going to see him again until SummerSlam. Like, because that was what was happening usually when he won a belt at WrestleMania. He would go away and not come back until August. But he's been defending the belt consistently at pay-per-views, at least. But yeah, if he does end up facing Obafemi should absolutely win. There's no reason for Roman's reign to last this long. Again, I obviously am not expecting another 4-year reign or anything like that, but he definitely doesn't even need to hold it for a year. let alone 4. Um, yeah, and I mean, LA Knight being frustrated that and I would say that I mean, obviously, I don't know the guy, but I imagine he's frustrated for real because he's not doing anything, and we're just doing Bloodline stuff again. So, uh, and I mean, to that same vein, let's talk about the Vision. That's
What
still
vision? That's a tagline. What vision? There's no vision for
yeah.
the
They
vision.
won't let it die. They just won't let it die. Every time something happens, they're just like, "Oh no, we have to do this. We have to do this. We have to have Braun and Seth face each other like 5 times because that's where we're going at this rate. They already faced each other like 3 times, and Seth definitively won the last time they faced. So just move on. It's over. There's no reason to continue this. And every time something like Braun gets hurt, misses WrestleMania, or returns at WrestleMania, and now Logan Paul's hurt, which I ain't complaining about. But
Yeah, like this whole thing started because like when
and Bronson,
Seth,
Bronson's already hurt
yeah, this whole thing started when like Braun turned on Seth, and we are like, oh shit,
because
this
Seth was hurt.
wasn't supposed to happen so quick. Yeah, yeah, and then they did a bunch of stuff with him and Braun, and then they brought in like Austin Theory, who was revealed as the hooded guy apparently, um, and then Braun gets hurt. And then this thing was just looking like, oh my god, what is happening with this? And then they bring in Logan Paul, which is like, do I really need more of him? It was just like, but I was like, well, they got nothing else to do with him. Um, and then Bronson Reed gets hurt, and now I'm supposed to think of the vision that Steph started up as Logan Paul and Austin Theory. It basically dwindled down to that.
And then they win the
And
tag
then, yeah, then they win the tag titles, which I kind of expected. And then Braun comes back, and then, well, wait, Seth came back first, and then Braun comes back, and they did the big match at, I guess, Mania. And then just a few weeks ago, after Seth is like, trying to get the Street Profits to help him. They don't want anything to do with that, and then eventually they realize they're strengthening their numbers, and then I thought the big send off was the match with Braun and Breaker and Seth. Braun trying to do his like run around the ring spear again, and then completely wipes out Paul Heyman.
Mm-hmm.
As and then he goes in, and then Seth, very smart move, tricks Braun into spearing him, while Seth's got the tag belt around his waist. Finally gets the big win over Braun. And I thought, okay, that's over, right? And then no, apparently, just last week, Seth gets screwed out of the King of the Ring because of Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. And as of right now, that's the vision. That's just those two guys. Paul Heyman's not even in the picture because, after getting speared through the barricade, yeah, a 60-year-old big man like that is like, he's not coming back for a while. Bronson Reed, however, on his social media, looks like he's in terrific shape, and I would say he might be back sooner rather than later. I guess if you can get Bronson healthy and back on TV and to be part of the division again, that would at least make them look credible, because right now it's just Braun and Theory, but they're supposed to be the tag team champions because Logan Paul's hurt. The belt is, under the Freebird rules, apparently. This isn't even a Freebird rule. There's no third person. You just transferred the belt from one person to another because Paul Heyman said in the contract, or whatever contract they signed, yeah, it's the Vision who are the tag team titles. It's the Vision who, it's based on who I think is the Vision, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. But I'm like, I don't know why they're still feuding with Seth at this point. They should just move on.
Yeah, and like, what are like? Obviously, we're not building Braun for anything because he should have won his King of the Ring tournament match. Like, I would have at least had him as a possibility of winning the tournament, but I wouldn't have put him against Obafemi in the semis, obviously, because that would have been, you know, like anybody could win that one. But either way, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing with Braun? Why is Braun doing this still? Why like what are we waiting for with him? Like, I understand WWE has like a formula. You can't be a top guy until you're at least 39 years old. But like, it's kind of ridiculous. Like, I mean, this is stuff that we talk about all the time. Braun is ready now. Oba's ready now. Javon is ready now. I don't need to wait 10 years for Javon to be an Intercontinental Champion. I don't need to wait 10 years for Braun Breaker to be a world champion. He should already be a world champion. He should have beat CM Punk. Like, and we're just continuing this Braun and Seth stuff for no reason. No reason at all. It's over. Seth won. Move on. Do something else. Seth could be doing something else. Like, anything else. And it just won't end. Like, and I can't imagine they're going to keep this going until SummerSlam, but I wouldn't be surprised at all. Um, it's crazy, and I don't know. Going off of that, what is going on with Cody?
I honestly have to tell you, I haven't paid attention to Cody. I have not watched SmackDown consistently the past few weeks. All I know is like Sami Zayn's biting up his ass, and Gunther is supposed to face him, and
like,
unless he already did, I don't even remember at this point.
so I get that Cody is the guy, and it's very well deserved, obviously. But like, obviously, it's been a very common thread going on in WWE right now that WWE does not know how to get out of their own way when it comes to Cody's storylines. They consistently fuck up everything that Cody is doing and then make excuses about the about the creative. Like Nick Khan did most recently when he did an interview where he said that everything that happened at WrestleMania 40 happened how it was supposed to. Even though WWE themselves did a documentary that they produced about how everything changed because it was supposed to be Roman versus The Rock. And the fans decided that they did not want that and they wanted Cody to win the world title. So Nick Khan just blatantly lied. And that's worse than any lie that Triple H has told on anything ever. Because it's documented that we know that plans changed. And we wouldn't have had to do any of that if Cody had just won at 39. But that's besides the point. But for him to blatantly lie like that on the record is crazy. And now they have Cody feuding with Gunther after he was stepped in for Braun at Mania because both of them had nothing going on because both of their projected opponents at Mania were hurt, supposedly. And he beats Seth, and then he's just thrown into feuding with Cody, which is something that they could have been building to for a while. They have a screwy finish. It's one of Cody's worst matches ever, besides the Cena match at Mania. And then Sami Zayn just decides after losing the U.S. title that he is so hell bent on becoming world champion that he needs to be involved in this. And Gunther wants a rematch. And now they're going to have a special guest referee, and Gunther chooses Sammy as the referee. Like, who can what? Why is that? Who does that help? Who does that help? Like, I don't understand how this company can't figure out how to have storylines that make sense and work for their biggest star on the entire roster. Consistently bad creative for the guy that is supposed to be your guy. It's crazy.
I'm actually wondering at this past WrestleMania, would things have been better if Randy actually beat Cody for the title?
No,
we've
Pat
gotten
McAfee
another.
TV.
I almost forgot the dreaded Pat McAfee involvement, and
Yes.
basically, so as an aside, sorry, it's just so baffling to me that just because of that one bad booking, Pat McAfee has decided to just leave wrestling entirely. And I'm like, wow, what happened there? It's like it must have been something so terrible backstage that it made him think, yeah, I'm not cut out for this anymore.
Well,
Even though years and years.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But yeah, like I don't know. It's confusing to me at the way Cody has been booked. He's been booked to a point where I don't really care what he's doing, and it's like that is
yeah,
that's fucking disturbing.
Yeah, I mean,
how did they pull that off?
At WrestleMania 40, he was the biggest star in the world.
Right,
and
it was yeah.
Now 2 years later, nobody cares about him. Nobody. And I love Cody. I can't watch the show that he's on because it's so bad. It's one of the worst shows on TV in general. But it's crazy to me that they cannot figure out how to just have consistently good storytelling with one of your best guys. And so the night after WrestleMania, right, Cody and CM Punk had a little thing. And then CM Punk disappeared. And everybody has been wondering where CM Punk has been. And there's been conflicting reports and stuff that's been said that hasn't been confirmed by anybody, like that he was unhappy about some things that happened in Mania and unhappy about one. Obviously, people are going to say that because of CM Punk's history, but without confirmation of that happening, there's no way of knowing if anything has happened negatively to CM Punk in any way, shape, or form. But everybody since then has been reporting that he was just given some time off because he was consistently on TV, working, having matches, pretty much from like October to April. Right? Mm-hmm. And the guy's not a spring chicken anymore. He's 46. He can't work as consistently as he could before. He deserves to have some time off, right? And apparently, don't get too excited about Gunther becoming the world champion because Cody versus CM Punk seems to be the direction for SummerSlam. So
I'm not against that. I just wish they will tell the story in that like with some quality and put some effort into it.
Well, and not just... I mean, you mentioned Randy Orton. They didn't mention their history once during that storyline. So
yeah, yeah.
So
maybe it's not encouraging. Maybe it's not encouraging to think about that because they definitely messed up the Cody and the Randy Orton stuff.
Yeah,
but I think that's because, as I said before, this is a company where the booking decisions are being made by like 30 or 40 writers in a room and not having like. I feel like at this point Hunter has lost control, at least on the main roster. he's basically been had his say overwritten by like TKO executives and like upper management and like upper board of directors kind of stuff. And I'm not gonna like label who is who. Like it's just a collection of everybody. I'm just gonna use a generic term. It's like how TNA used to say, "Oh, the network wants this or the network wants that." It's basically kind of my thinking, except it's real life. Yeah, the 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 board of directors want Pat McAfee. Oh, the board of directors. Hey, let's put little Yachty next to Trick Williams and stuff like this. And it's just like, you take a look at comparison. We show you and I saw the mask versus mask match down in AAA, and that was a build that lasted since I guess the Rumble when the other El Grande Americano, now known as Chad Gable, reappeared. And my understanding is the Undertaker is the main booker of AAA. He doesn't have like 5 dozen writers in the room. It's just him. Maybe 1 or 2 guys giving him some pointers, tips, and like about like how this is how you book a Mexican wrestling show. And at the end of the day, he looks at things and like, okay, I want this guy here. We're gonna have a big blow off, mask versus mask. That's it. And we got some great stuff out of that. That match was incredible. That match might have been the best WWE match in this year, and it's not even a mainstay WWE company. It's the one they bought off from Mexico, and I'm like, okay.
And if you really think about it on paper, right? Like, and this is just, some people like his opinions and some people don't, but like, Dave Meltzer doesn't always give WWE the benefit of the doubt of having a better than 5-star match. It's his highest rated WWE match ever. Ever.
And it's off of 2 guys who a year ago were in the mid card and like weren't doing anything.
His highest rated WWE match before that was a 5.5 of Andrade and Gargano. And
yeah,
I mean that's a good jumping off point to talk about, like, because I wanted to talk about Chad right now anyway. Like, all right, so you mentioned the mask versus mask match, which we've all seen at this point. It's probably a match of the year candidate in anybody's book. It was an amazing match that WWE couldn't even follow it up, like, in any way, shape, or form with Clash in Italy. Clash in Italy took place right after that show, and there was not even a match that came close. Like, it's crazy that there was a lot of ups and downs to get there, right? Like, the stuff with Chad before Ludwig even got involved was, to me, not working because it was just coming off as very, for lack of a better term, racist. And he was a heel who was an American pretending to be a Mexican. And everybody knew it was him, but WWE was acting like they didn't know. Then he gets hurt, and Ludwig takes the mantle, and they put Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate in masks also, and they get over in Mexico, but are still heels in America, which is ridiculous. And then when Chad comes back, he's a heel in Mexico because of how over Ludwig gets in Mexico, but he's a babyface in America. Why couldn't they just be heels and faces in both at the same time? Why did one have to, like, does nobody, obviously nobody on either creative team talks to each other. So that's why there's conflicting story things going on. And like in Mexico, the Creeds show up in masks and are heels with him, but in America, they're not with him at all because he's a babyface.
What's weird about when the Creeds showed up?
Sense, but then they had,
what? What's weird is that when
go
the
ahead.
Creed showed up in AAA, they were the Creeds, and then suddenly they get masks put on them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, there's these two big guys with the other El Grande Americano," and I'm like, I
Mm-hmm.
obviously know who those two are. It was you
Yeah.
literally just had them on there a week ago, so
Yep.
it makes it's very confusing.
Oh,
And
and they showed up in Mexico. They showed up in Mexico without masks, but showed up in
yeah, that's
America
what I meant.
with. Yeah,
And
it's
it's like,
crazy.
what? What is happening?
And then the match happens, and as we all expected, Chad loses because of how over is in America. I mean, in Mexico. Sorry, and that's what we all expected to happen. And then Chad gets over and earns the respect of the Mexican fans by learning a lesson that took 2 years to learn. And now he's back on both shows because he came back on SmackDown, had an interaction with Sami Zayn, then showed up on Raw just randomly. And guess who's not with him anymore? The Creeds.
The Creeds.
He's just a singles guy now again, and he's a babyface. And he made the save for Rey Mysterio the other day, and he's been making apologies to all the Mexican talent for making a mockery of their heritage and saying that he understands the weight of the mask and what it means to be a luchador and the heritage and all of that. And he said he did the same thing to Penta and Phoenix and Rey Mysterio, and then Rey Mysterio's talking to him, and he's like, maybe you have to think about a little further back before all of this Grande stuff. Some other people that you need to apologize to, and obviously everybody knows where that's going. He's going to apologize to Otis, and I imagine that that's going to lead to something with the Vision because Maxine has been spotted with the Vision a bunch,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't care about at all. Which
The
is
Vision
crazy.
is still at this. Yeah, the Vision is still, as we discussed earlier, just Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. Now, if it's like Chad Gable and reuniting with Otis and Tozawa, I'm sorry,
That's going
that's
way.
not
That's going
really.
backwards. That's going backwards.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
over as hell right now. If he's just going to
exactly.
apologize to them, sure, that's fine. Do that. And if Otis accepts his apology, then just leave it at that. But I don't need them to be a group again. I need Chad to be a consistent singles star because he is one and should have been one for years. The man's 40 now. That means he's in prime WWE main eventer age.
Yeah, and SummerSlam is coming up at his home state in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
either you're gonna have him face Penta for the Intercontinental title, and in a sense wrap up this whole thing where he started with the Luchadors in the first place, and have
Mm-hmm.
him, beat Penta this time because Penta was the one who beat Chad for his debut match, or you're lining up Chad for a world title run, which, but I'm like, well, Oba's supposed to get the shot at SummerSlam, so what are you like gonna?
So we think, yeah, and he's
So
not
I
going to
don't
challenge
know.
Cody.
No,
Yeah, I don't know, but they need to do something because you can't do what they did and not capitalize on. He's over now. People love him. He deserves that shot, and obviously we've talked about. I don't know when his contract is up, but I feel like he would get more momentum off of this going to another company than he would in WWE as a whole. But you know that at some point,
imagine that was the case, that Chad just lets his contract run out and then suddenly he shows up on Dynamite and the place just blows up.
mhm.
Oh
But you
my
know
god.
at some point he's going to go back to AAA and he's going to save Ludwig. He's going to help Ludwig at some point in Mexico because he can't help him in America because Ludwig's a heel in America.
Mm.
It's so stupid.
Well,
Uh,
hey, let me tell you something. He's not Ludwig Kaiser will never be shown in public again. Like, this is him now.
yeah.
This is the defining thing of his wrestling career.
Yes,
Ludwig Kaiser was Ludwig
he's
Kaiser
now a
was
German
nobody.
pretending to be an American who is Mexican who has a Mexican girlfriend.
Good for him.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, yeah, Ludwig was never gonna get as over as he is anywhere as Gunther's lackey. So, and yeah, good for him. I'm very happy for him. Um, I just wish that there was some consistency in his character. Um, I mean, honestly, if it was up to me, I'd just have him in AAA full time. Don't even bring him to Raw. Like, just keep him over there. Make him the guy over there. And push more people on Raw. Since you have like this massive roster and only use 10% of it.
Yeah, I think that sending some people down from Raw to AAA has kind of worked out. The War Raiders won the AAA tag team titles. I mean, they hadn't done anything on Raw lately. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Like, there's like probably a whole bunch of other people that could probably go down there and have a bit of a career resurgence.
Like the Creeds.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Going down the line with Chad, I hope that they do something that works for him. And yeah, all right. So we're gonna shift gears, I guess, because I don't think there's much left in WWE right now that there is to talk about, unless you have something. But I want to. Let's shift gears to AEW.
Sure.
So the Owen Hart Cup is going on, men and women. It usually is around this time of year. Some years it ends at Double or Nothing. Some years it ends after. This year it's ending at Forbidden Door. And one thing that we have discussed multiple times in the past and continues to be an issue is not enough entrants. Like, I get that you want to have a lot of great matches leading up to the final, but you could get 16 men and 16 women in this tournament. Why is it only got to be 8 people every time? And I mean, not to say all of these matches have been great. All of them. There has not been one bad tournament match. Um, my biggest issue is, I mean, obviously the men's was very predictable because we predicted the exact final and it's happening. Um, the women was less predictable before a certain person was inserted, and now I think we know who's winning. Very obviously. Um, so I'm just trying to pull up the brackets here. Just give me 1 second. But yes, the finals for the men's has been determined, and it will be Will Ospreay versus Swerve Strickland once again at Forbidden Door. This time for the finals of the tournament. Um, on the women's side, we are about to determine who will be going to the finals. Um, so let me just bring up the brackets. Owen Hart Cup 2026. Okay, so we have the first round of the men's. We had um, this is last year. Hold on. First round of the men's, we had Samoa Joe versus Will Ospreay. We talked about that. Double or Nothing. That was very good. Mark Davis versus Jack Perry. One of the best matches Jack Perry has ever had. Swerve Strickland versus Bandito, which was at Double or Nothing. We talked about that. And Claudio versus Brody, which was also a very good match. Then, they had stories built into these semi-final matches. Will and Mark Davis had that match before Will went to the Death Riders, where it was a stoppage. So there was precedent for the rematch and for Will to get his revenge. And Swerve and Brody had that match, a couple of pay-per-views ago. And Brody was out for revenge and all of that. So, of course, Will wins and Swerve wins. And that is our final for Forbidden Door. Now, as I mentioned, there could have been 8 more guys in this tournament. You could have started the tournament earlier in the year and had more matches and had more people on screen that have not been on screen in a while. Or at least just had more people doing stuff in this tournament and winning matches here and there to set up other big matches. And you can still have these intertwining storylines into the tournament like we had, just with more people. And that's my biggest gripe about it. Like, just not enough guys in the tournament where you could have more and have more consistently great matches. And I expect Swerve and Ospreay to have a great match. They always have a great match. They had probably the best match I've ever seen in person at Forbidden Door 2024, when I went, and I nothing has topped it since. I mean, that I've seen in person. Obviously, I haven't been to a show since that show, so. But it's easily probably the best match I've ever seen in person. So I'm sure they're gonna have just as good, if not better, of a match at this show. Um, your thoughts on the men's tournament as a whole?
I mean, I get your point that there could have been more inserted and participants inserted, and having it start earlier could have given it more time. In terms of just the quality of the matches, I have no complaints about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they only reduced it down to like 8 of them, because their eventual plan wanted was to have Will Ospreay versus Strickland.
Yeah.
And I did like the fact that they put in like matches that were based on like existing feuds, like Swerve and Bandito, and it was like Mark Davis and Will Ospreay, for example. So yeah, and then the women's side, yeah, they kept basically upended the whole thing by getting Mercedes back in because of Willow.
Yeah. So,
although there are some surprises. There are some surprises on the women's side because of Sari not being able to compete due to her ongoing health issues. And then they inserted Maya World in there, and Maya World just pulled off an upset and advanced to the, I guess, the semifinals.
Yep.
I don't know if that was a factor of her just like losing her brother recently and basically deciding to do the match anyway. They're just trying to get a feel good story out of that. But yeah, they really actually managed to just push women they have been like putting on TV consistently, and like, here's our new stars, everybody.
So let's talk about the women's tournament more in depth here. So first round, we had obviously we talked about this at Double or Nothing, but Alex Windsor was supposed to face Willow in the first round, but Willow was legitimately hurt. We're going to talk about the TBS title situation in a little while. So, first round, we saw Mina lose to Athena. Then we had the returning Mercedes defeating Alex Windsor. Persephone loses to Hazuki to set up a rematch between Mercedes and Hazuki. Of course, they had that almost match of the year candidate in December of 24, 25. And so that's a rematch that people are very excited about. And as you mentioned, Maya World took the spot of Sari, who was supposed to be in this tournament, but she has ongoing neck issues, and she supposedly got cleared in Japan, but AEW's doctors would not clear her to wrestle. Um, so now we're setting up a semifinal of teacher versus student, Athena versus Maya World. Um, because Maya World was trained by Athena, and that should be a very good match. I'm looking forward to that match. They did some setup for this on Collision, where Athena had a squash match, and Athena was going to attack her opponent after the match, and Maya World made the save. And then while Maya World was tending to the other person, Athena came back out and attacked Maya World from behind. And, she did the whole I may have taught you everything that you know, but I haven't taught you everything that I know deal, which I would be surprised if Maya World ended up winning, because I do think that they want to do that final of Athena versus Mercedes, a match that we've kind of been expecting to see at some point that we have not got yet, or at least a good one. I think they had one that wasn't very long, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, but yeah, as soon as I mean, I had no idea who was going to win this tournament before they added Mercedes. It was very up in the air to me. I think maybe Willow had a shot, but then she would have had to lose the TBS title before All In, which I don't think would have been an issue. But yeah, I could not have told you who would have won this tournament if it went down it was originally planned. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm upset about Sari getting taken out because she's one of the best wrestlers in the world, and her versus Athena would have been amazing again, and her versus Mercedes would have been amazing, or her versus Willow would have been amazing. But yeah, I fully expect a Mercedes versus Athena final, with Mercedes being the first person to win 2 years in a row, and for her to go to All In and to win the title this time. Um, I'm still very up in the air about who her opponent will be at that show, but I imagine Tekla's just going to keep the title until All In. I guess you could build something around that. But yeah, I guess that's going to be the match: Mercedes versus Tekla. At All, which I guess is fine. I'm sure that'll be a great match. I don't know who the babyface is going to be, but I imagine it'll be.
I was just wondering about that. I was like,
I mean, I guess you could make it Mercedes and make her sympathetic, but she attacked Hazuki and Persephone before they even had their match, like a week before, because everybody thought she was a babyface when she came back, and she had fully established that she was not by attacking both of them.
Yeah.
So we will see. So going off of that, I guess we can talk about the women's title situations in AEW. let's talk about the TBS title first. So, as we mentioned in previous episodes and most recently in this one, Willow had to vacate the TBS title due to injury because she's going to be out for a good amount of time. Not sure if she'll make it to All In or not. So they announced, and this was actually something I didn't expect them to do, which I think is a lot better than what they could have did. Because they could have just did another gauntlet or did another tournament. There's already a tournament going on, so you can't have another tournament right now. And we get
Mm-hmm.
gauntlets pretty consistently, so I like what we ended up getting. Um, they announced that they're going to do qualifying matches for a survival of the fittest match, and a bunch of people are already announced, and two people have qualified already. So when this was announced, um, Statlander, Hikaru Shida, um, Mina Shirakawa, Harley Cameron, Queen Aminata, and Persephone all announced to be qualifiers. And we had the first two qualifiers on June 11th on Collision, where Persephone defeated Julia Hart to qualify, and Hikaru Shida defeated Zeta Steel to qualify. So we're still waiting on four more participants. I imagine Statlander will be one of them. Um, Queen Aminata makes sense for the match. And from there, I don't know. I mean, Harley Cameron could also enter. So we will see. But the winner will be crowned on the July 1st episode of Dynamite. Um,
Mm.
so we will have a new TBS champion by July 1st. Um, so I'm very intrigued about that. Um, wonder if we'll have a never before crowned TBS champion because there's only been what, five different champions so far. Mercedes, uh, Jade. Jade was the first. Chris Statlander, Julia, Willow, and yeah, five. And Willow is the only two-time champion. Um, so I would like to see somebody else win the belt. Queen Aminata, I mean, we mentioned her before. If she qualifies, she, I think, is the perfect person to take that mantle for now. Because I don't imagine they'll have her as a world champion anytime soon. So making her the TBS champion would be a good jumping off point for her. Your thoughts?
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a lot of like new faces that could take a TBS title. Yeah, like Persephone, as we mentioned, Queen Aminata. Um, yeah, whoever else is in this survival of the fittest thing, we'll have to see. But at least it's something different, right? Because my understanding of survival of the fittest is like, is it like a 6-pack challenge or is it more like a gauntlet?
So I believe it's like a 6-pack eliminator match.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I saw. Yeah, I saw a bit on Ring of Honor, so it's like nice that they kind of brought this concept onto
Yeah,
AEW.
I like that they can mix concepts within the companies because they're all under the same umbrella anyway. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, you can't do another tournament because we already have a tournament going on. You can't just keep doing gauntlet matches as your make good for stuff. The I mean we've talked about this in the past. They've been doing the gauntlet thing too much, so
Mm-hmm.
they should really save that for other things like bigger shows instead of just consistently doing it to solve a problem. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm very intrigued on who else will qualify. If this will be uh, somebody new as the champion, I do not want Statlander to win this match if she is. because there's just no reason for her to go that way right now. I mean, I know that she's like kind of at a standstill right now because the Hikaru Shida thing is still. I mean, I guess her feud with Hikaru Shida is basically over because they had like a street fight. But yeah, Statlander's kind of not doing anything consistently right now. But I do not want her to win the TBS title. I want somebody new to win it. All right, so now the world title. So Tekla, I mean, and we talked about this when we talked about Double or Nothing. Really doesn't have much storyline going on. But I do love that they're doing this thing since we're building to Forbidden Door, where she was quote unquote fired from Stardom. They did a storyline firing when she chose to leave because she attacked the owner, and then she went to AEW, and now because she's the champion, she wants to defend her belt at Forbidden Door against a Stardom talent. And they recently announced who that is going to be. It's going to be Starlight Kid, which I am very excited about. That is going to be a hell of a match. But before this, they kind of didn't really know what they were doing with her because they hadn't really built anybody to face her for the title. They just had her rematching a bunch of people she had already beaten, which we had talked about in the past. Like that's why at the time I wasn't sure if like I could see her holding the belt until All In, but they really got to figure out what they're gonna do. I mean, I don't imagine that she's going to lose the belt at Forbidden Door. She's just gonna have a hell of a match with Starlight Kid, and then we'll know who she's gonna be facing at All In because we'll have the final. But then they got to do something in between, which we have that redemption show in July in Montreal. But I can't see her losing the belt there unless it's somebody that Mercedes has history with. And I can't imagine who that's going to be since Willow is out. It's not going to be Britt Baker, I don't think.
Okay.
So who else would it be? I that's why I imagine she's just going to keep the belt until All In. And Tony Storm's not coming back this year. We still don't know why. So that's for her to announce, I guess, if it's anything personal or whatever. But as far as we know, Tony Storm will be gone for the rest of the year. Obviously, people have been speculating, but that's all it is speculation. So yeah, I just want consistency in the division. Obviously, we've talked about getting some new names in there. Seems like we've had like the same 8 people just hovering around the titles and just people that have not been around in forever, just doing nothing. I mean, Britt Baker has been asked in the past if she's going to come back anytime soon, and she said it's not up to her. And that's what she said every time she's been asked. It's not up to her. And she doesn't talk about wrestling at all on social media. So who knows? But yeah, I is there anybody that you like think could possibly beat Tekla before All In, or do you just expect Tekla to just be the champion going in?
I mean, I don't really see anyone on the horizon, right? Like she had that big fatal 4-way where she beat like 3 other former world champions. So
yeah,
I don't know. Unless you start building up somebody new, yeah, they're kind of like a bit low on options here. There's like women that are in the background that haven't been on TV in a while. like I naturally would think someone like a Thunder Rosa would be a good like filler. Like you could have her face, you could have Thunder face Tekla at Redemption, but they haven't
Yeah.
really done anything to advance why Thunder Rosa came back and why Thunder Rosa would earn a title shot. Would earn a title shot now. She hasn't done anything.
They did that match already. Yeah,
Okay,
they
and I
had.
completely
Yeah,
this has been such an uneventful title reign that I totally forgot. The only thing entertaining
yeah,
about Tekla is her. I mean, the biggest feud she's having right now is with Stardom, so it's like,
yeah.
it's
But no, she.
there's not a lot going on there.
I will give her like yeah. Creative has been unfortunate in the women's division as a whole, especially around her title reign. But like her character and the stuff she's been doing, like she's a star, and she's gonna be a hell of a babyface. Like she's over with the crowd. They love when she says bitches. I mean, she says it all the time. Calls everybody dumb bitches. Everybody loves that. Um, so yeah, I mean, she's over. I mean, but yeah, I mean, obviously, like we said, the the creative just hasn't been there for the women. It's been very inconsistent. Um, so we'll see. Uh, I think we're I mean there's not much we could say about the tag titles that we haven't already said. So I don't even think we should even go there. Um, Kevin Knight. Let's talk about him. What the hell are they doing? uh, so Kevin Knight turns heel at Double or Nothing by attacking Darby Allin after he loses to MJF. And it was basically the explanation that we expected. That he told Darby not to let him down and not to lose, and then he did. But the problem here is the in between. Before Darby came back, Kevin Knight is just in the Don Callis family now for no reason at all. Even before that, he turns on Mike Bailey after Mike Bailey is like, "Oh, you can just apologize for this, Kevin, and put it behind you, and you can be better, and you can learn from this." And then he just turns on Mike Bailey.
Of course he did. Like what?
Yeah, and then he's just randomly in the Don Callis family now.
You don't.
Go ahead.
No, you don't. Yeah, you don't need Kevin Knight. He has enough character and charisma on his own to be a heel. He doesn't need to be in the Don Callis family, which has like 50,000 people at this point.
He also doesn't fit the group. It doesn't. It's not like, and nobody who's just becoming a heel needs to join the Don Callis family right away. Like, as you mentioned, he's already got all the tools. He doesn't need Don Callis's help. And he didn't need to join a group of any kind, but if he were to join a group, I would want him in like a heel hurt syndicate more,
or
than
join Swerve and create some, I guess I don't know, Swerve is a heel also now, so why not restart the Embassy Mogul affiliates or whatever he used to have, right?
Either of those would have made more sense than joining the Don Callis family. He did not need to join the Don Callis family, and to use the excuse of Don Callis only recruits champions, and then the TNT title's now under my control once again, and like it's just that it just seems lazy. Like, and Kevin Knight is still saying that he wants to chase MJF, even though he is the TNT champion and he should not even be looking at MJF's direction. Like, MJF is busy doing other things, which we are going to talk about because I have some things to say about that. But yeah, he doesn't need to be in the Don Callis family. He doesn't need to be in a group at all. He can just be a heel and be a good one. And like I love that he's like changing up his style as a heel, and he's not doing the UFO splash anymore or as frequently because that's a babyface thing to do. And like I love that. I love that he's changing up his style, but he doesn't need the Don Callis family to be a heel, and they don't need him. Like he's all like he got involved in Mike Bailey's match against Jake Doyle after he had already beaten Mike Bailey in a singles match on Dynamite. Like, so what are we just gonna keep doing that until they figure out something else to do with him? He's just gonna face Mike Bailey again? Like, nobody needs that. Like, I'm sure, yes, Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey have great chemistry and have great matches, but if you're not gonna do something consistent with the guy, and you're just gonna lazily put him in the Don Callis family, what's the point? What's the point of the heel turn if you're just going to lazily put him in the same spot that you put everybody else?
Yeah, because like once you join the Don Callis family, you get basically, unless you are like somebody that has a title, you kind of just there, right? I mean they're kind of hilarious. Like some of the backstage segments where they're just randomly beating up people. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
But it's just like you kind of dilute the character when you just sign him up with like this mega group, right? Because now the attention is like diverted, and like it's like okay, you got Kevin Knight who wants a title shot with MJF, but then you also got Andrade who wants a title shot with MJF,
yeah,
and like Dawn new and like it's like Dawn does not want the world title because MJF has it. Like I don't because of the money. Is that
yeah.
it? Like you're just supposed to be the guy who wants championships, like which also equals a lot of money. So why don't you just like take the title from MJF, like put up your guys against them? But I'm like, oh, because they're all heels. That's why they're not supposed to go after one another.
And
That's kind of stupid.
I also hate the excuse of, oh well, Andrade is poised to leave the group, so Kevin Knight has to replace him. Like, no, just
who
don't
put that out there.
Oh, it's people have mentioned it. Like, oh well, like obviously Andrade's going to be a babyface soon, so you gotta put somebody else in there to be like the new heel. But like also they're teasing stuff with Okada and Kyle about going after the International, and it's like is Kyle gonna turn on Okada because they both want the International? Like, why are we doing all of this shit with the Don Callis family? Like, you have to know when it's time to like just move on from this stuff. Like, I don't even think the Don Callis family as a group is over. I think just a couple of guys in it are over.
Right. It's like right. The group is like we joke about how like half the AEW roster is in the Don Callis family, and that's not a joke, but it's like because it's kind of true. But you have so many of them in the same group, it's kind of hard to figure out where some of these storylines are going. Like, okay, they're all supposed to be like allies because they're in the same group, but then you got like the simmering tension between like a whole bunch of these people, and that was the longest time when Takeshita was there, because it was like Takeshita and Otaga. Yeah, Okada were the tag team, and even during the match, they were like punching each other in the face, and then finally they blew it off, and then, I didn't think that when Kyle came back, he was gonna just turn on Takeshi, turn on his friend, and then just stay in the family instead. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know what's going on. I don't know who made that decision, but yeah, it took them a year before they finally kicked out one guy, and the group is now like bigger because now they've replaced Takeshita with Kevin Knight.
And now
And
The
like
Don
there's guys coming back from injury now, so
the Don Callis family is just three guys that win a bunch and everybody else that loses a lot. Like, I mean, and you can add Kevin Knight to that. So you got Andrade, Okada, Kyle, Kevin, and now Mark Davis. Everybody else just loses. I mean, Jake Doyle's back and he's winning matches, but like Brian Cage, all he's done since he's back is lose. Lance Archer is a fall guy. Okada is a fall. Not Okada. The best friends, Roppongi.
Rocky and Trent.
Yeah, fall guys. El Clon hurt. Haven't seen him in a while, but he wasn't really winning matches either. So it's like nobody else matters in this group. So like we said, Andrade's going to be out of it soon, and I imagine so is Kyle. I don't think, yes, he's going to be feuding with Takeshita for the time being, but I think once that's over, him and Okada are going to just have problems, and that's hopefully doesn't last as long as the Takeshita Okada feud because it doesn't need to. But yeah, I don't get it. They gotta figure this shit out. I don't need all of this Don Callis crap all the time.
Yeah, I remember back in maybe a decade ago when Aces and Eights were a thing in TNA, that group just kind of blew up and just became so many people. And then at that point, they finally started dwindling them down to the point where basically the group ended with just like Bully Ray and like Taz and like Garrett Bischoff, like Eric Bischoff's son.
The problem with that group was that there was nobody in it that anybody cared about. Not a single person. I mean, this was before Gallows was over. Way before.
Yeah.
And yeah, at least there's people in the Don Callis family that people care about. It's just that the consistency of Don Callis just going after the same people and just like I don't need to see him involved with anything that Kenny Omega's doing, anything that Will Ospreay's doing, anything that Takeshita's doing after this Kyle feud. Because that's going to probably go until All In. I would not be surprised. But yeah, they need to figure that shit out. All right. I guess we could talk a little bit more about Ospreay. So we've kind of talked about this in the past, and I think that this is probably the best storyline that AEW has going on right now. Is the stuff that's been going on with him and the Death Riders, and how he is becoming a better worker and a better all-around like athlete because of how the Death Riders are helping him. And it's still very we're still very unsure about like what the Death Riders' role is right now, other than helping Ospreay to get to All In, because they're not really doing anything on their own right now. I mean, they just had this random small little feud with Shane Taylor Promotions that resulted in another street fight, which
was crazy. I would say like a crazy street fight.
Well, and if you can confirm one thing about AEW is that whenever they have some kind of anarchy, street fight, whatever it is that involves the Death Riders, it's going to be fun. Like, they are just in their element in matches like that against anyone. And this match with Shane Taylor Promotions was great. But yeah, I love everything that is going on with this Ospreay storyline. I mean, we all know where it's going. He's going to win the world title at All In. We just don't know who that's going to be against. We've talked about this in the past, and I think it's been more evident ever since Double or Nothing, where Kenny and Ospreay had that sit down, and Kenny just recently. Well, Kenny is going to face Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door. That's going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
But in his match on Collision, after he beat Bad Dude Tito, he said that it's only a matter of time before he gets to MJF again, which is a small little teaser because I think we all expect that that match is going to happen at that Redemption show and Kenny is going to win. To set up Ospreay versus Omega for the world title at All In. And it would not surprise me, and we haven't really discussed this, it would not surprise me if Hangman Page had something to do with that result at Redemption. Because we have not seen Hangman Page still to this day, and a lot of people expect that if he is going to do anything at All In, it's got to be against MJF again. So it would make perfect sense. It would make perfect sense for him to return at Redemption to cost MJF the match against Kenny. In some way, shape, or form. Because the stuff with Ospreay and the teases with Omega and the stuff, like, I can't even, like I said, I can't even fathom what's going on with the Death Riders other than the fact that they're just turning Will Ospreay into a machine, which I absolutely love. He's doing more submissions now. He's doing a cross arm breaker as a finisher, and you know they're turning him into somebody who like is more consistently just doesn't need to be flashy all the time to have great matches. And even though he is still very flashy when it comes to his in-ring style, he's become more grounded and more sadistic and more methodical, and I love that. And I love everything that's going on with Ospreay and the Death Riders, everything. And Jon Moxley just being like this voice of wisdom is perfect. And I imagine like, so Gabe Kidd, I don't know. So Gabe Kidd returned to New Japan at Dominion, and he said that the Death Riders still had business with Shota Umino, even though the Death Riders haven't been to Japan in like over a year.
Okay.
And Gabe Kidd, I guess, is still somehow affiliated with the Death Riders, even though he's in the Dogs.
Yeah, didn't the Dogs like fight the Death Riders recently?
No, the Dogs and the Death Riders have been friends. They've been teaming.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's so weird how, like, what are the Death Riders? Are they heels? Are they baby faces? Are they just friends with whoever?
Well, for a while they were heels, and then they started turning babyface when John won the Continental title, and then they started becoming heels again when Will came back. And then after the match at I guess it was like Dynasty, and then they were like, okay, well, why don't we help Will? Because I'd rather have him healthy. Then.
They were clear baby faces in that Shane Taylor Promotions match, like all of them, baby faces, every single member.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now Gabe Kidd is saying that he's still affiliated and that Shota Umino still has unfinished business with the Death Riders, even though last year at Forbidden Door he wanted to challenge Jon Moxley, and Jon Moxley said he wasn't ready, so he faced Claudio. So I imagine something's going to happen at Forbidden Door with that. So is Jon Moxley a heel again? Like, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out on Dynamite in the next coming, show. But yeah, I can't wait for Will Ospreay to be the world champion. It's going to be one of the best moments in AEW. It's something that we all pretty much expect to happen. If it doesn't happen at All In, it's absolutely the wrong thing to do. He has to win the tournament. He has to win at All In. And yeah, I want to see how they're going to get us there. Obviously, I don't want too much shenanigans. I know with the Death Riders you get a lot of it, but um, I mean that Mark Davis and Will Ospreay match was loaded with shenanigans. Like you had like 12 people interfering in that thing, um, and of course Ospreay won. But but yeah, I'm very excited for everything Will Ospreay is doing. Your overall thoughts on all of that?
Yeah, I think it's been consistent. I think at first it kind of threw me off that okay, the Death Riders just finished beating up Will Ospreay, and then suddenly they take him away and like start training him, and I says based on like Mox's kind of like bizarre logic, he's like I'd rather have this guy be around for 20 years than like being like having to retire because it'd be like he's more useful because I guess the way to think the way John Moxley has been doing things, he's like he wants to build up the company or this industry to be like there could be 20 of him replacing him after he Moxley himself is no longer wrestling. Uh, doesn't matter what kind of background they are, right? So it's like Will has the tools. He's already been like on the top. He can do so again, but he just needs to like change a few things so he doesn't like burn himself out, which is funny because it's like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So I was like, at first I wasn't sure about this, and then now that you kind of look at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. My own question is like, right after All In, once he becomes that champion, what happens after? Like, are the Death Riders still going to be on his side? Because we don't know. Because we mentioned you mentioned it earlier. We're not sure if the baby faces or heels. The last time the Death Riders showed up all in the ring and All In, they almost killed Brian Danielson. So it's like, but that was before they became the Death Riders. So now I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just interesting to watch. It's not like irritating me to the point where it's like I don't see a direction where this is going. But it's just kind of like okay, at this point in time, the Death Riders are kind of spinning their wheels because they're pretty over the crowd. They're doing babyface things. They're like getting babyface reactions. Like even Yuta, people used to just say asshole, chant asshole at Yuta, and now he's not even getting that anymore. So, but yeah, they're as a group they're doing things, but individually they're not really like doing that much. Although you
Yeah,
got Pac still like fighting Mark Briscoe, so they are like
yeah,
you know still doing that. But it's overall it's just kind of almost a wait and see. I don't really know what's going on here. It's almost like at this point it's like they're just spinning the wheels until like something comes about.
yeah. So we will see, but yeah, my excitement level for Will Ospreay to be the world champion is very high. I'm excited about that, and hopefully we get something out of what's going on with the Death Riders in the near future. All right, so the last thing that I have, and so we kind of talked about this a little recently, but like Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe decided that because he has a win over MJF, that he wants a title shot. And MJF has consistently said that Mark does not deserve a title shot. I would prefer if MJF was defending his title against other people. But I understand why we are going here because of the win that that Mark Briscoe has over MJF before he was the champion again. Um, But MJF has consistently said that he does not want to give Mark Briscoe a title shot. So Mark Briscoe does the only thing that he should have done from the beginning is talk to the person in charge. Like, why is he asking MJF for a title shot? MJF is not in charge. He's just the champion. Just talk to the guy who has the pencil. Like, well, I think I deserve a title shot, Tony, so let's do this. So Mark Briscoe presents the idea of a 12-man steel cage match at Forbidden Door. Mark Briscoe will team up with 5 other guys, and MJF will team up with 5 other guys. And if Mark Briscoe's team wins, then he gets a title shot against MJF. They have not said what happens if MJF team wins. I imagine it's just he just doesn't get a title shot. And they have not announced who the participants are going to be yet. I imagine this will have some kind of New Japan CMLL connection. You're obviously going to have probably Orange Cassidy, probably the Trios champions, teaming with Mark. So that would leave, 2 other people that I imagine will be like Mystico or, somebody else from New Japan or CMLL. And then MJF doesn't really have a lot of friends, but he has a paid
he has money, lots of money.
Yes, so he has a paid relationship with Don Callis. So I imagine that they'll be involved in this in some way, shape, or form, and then you'll also have.
Just sorry to interrupt you for a second. Is this steel cage match like a blood and guts match, or is it just a steel cage match where everybody is in there?
They only said steel cage. They did not say blood and guts.
Yeah, it's interesting that they didn't make it blood and guts. It would.
And we are going to find out who the participants are on the upcoming Dynamite, where they will have a standard 12-man tag match on Dynamite.
Okay.
So we're going to have all of these people face each other before the pay-per-view in a match for some reason. So yeah, we will find out. I don't want Mark Briscoe to get a world title shot. It's not because I dislike Mark Briscoe. I think Mark Briscoe is great. I'm just tired of him and MJF feuding. I'm ready for it to be done. Forever.
I mean, you kind of need to close this off because, yeah, Mark did beat MJF in that, crazy hardcore match, and then as a result of that, MJF disappeared from TV for months, so they never really resolved that. Tables and tax match, and as a result of that, MJF was taken off TV, and he never really came to a resolution on that. So, and yeah, I don't know why. I actually didn't know why MJF kept saying he didn't deserve one. He beat your ass, dude, very violently, and it caused you to leave TV for several months. You didn't even know what your direction was. So how could Mark Briscoe not deserve a world title match?
Well, that's why he should have just went to Tony Khan from the beginning. Why is he asking MJF for a title shot?
Those couple of weeks was just kind of odd. It's like, yeah.
And then the first time that Mark Briscoe asked, he was like, Roosh comes out, and Roosh was on a 9-match winning streak, and they had a match. Obviously, we never expected Roosh to win. But, why is Roosh getting a title shot for winning a bunch of matches in a row, even though Mark Briscoe has basically done the exact same thing? So I imagine that when this match happens, whether it is a steel cage or if it is a standard steel cage match, how are you going to get 12 guys in there? Like it
it's gonna look messy. But I
yeah.
feel like either it's gonna be just something they haven't. It's gonna be a messy match, or it's a blood and guts match.
Yeah. So we will see how that plays out. I want to believe that it'll still obviously be a very fun match. I don't like that MJF is not defending his title at Forbidden Door. I don't like that. But I would prefer if he was, just not against Mark Briscoe. Like we could have had him face, like Callum Newman or something, and then did something later. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, I don't know. I am looking forward to Forbidden Door. The matches that we have so far are great. Um, People were kind of wondering if we were going to be able to keep having Forbidden Door, considering that a lot of their talent are just going to AEW, New Japan, that is. Um, but Zack Saber Jr. is pretty consistently on Forbidden Door. Stardom is more involved this year. CMLL is officially like part of the Forbidden Door deal. So it's really New Japan, Stardom, CMLL, Forbidden Door. So that's why it could be literally anybody. Um, there's still the show is coming up on the. There's 2 weeks still to build to this show at time of recording. So I think we will obviously get a lot more matches soon. Um, we didn't really talk about like the dogs are still playing with Cope and Christian. We haven't seen Cope and Christian since the dogs attacked them. Um, the Young Bucks and the dogs just had a match where the dogs won. So the whole tag title situation is, obviously we're building to the New Day coming to AEW.
I want to. Yeah, no, yeah, of course, the New Day. We're building towards that. I want to talk a little bit about Leo Rush and what's going on with that guy.
Oh yes.
uh, since what I can't remember when was his dynasty, or was that Casino Gauntlet or something? I can't remember what this was. He just suddenly shows up out of nowhere, looking like the strangest motherfucker ever, like a Gollum-esque creature. Like he's completely shaved his hair bald. Like he started wearing these contacts and made his eyes look like white, blue, or like clear. Later he changed them, and then he starts like dripping black drool out of his mouth. I know this is a character that he has tried out in the Indies, but they brought it here. What is actual? Yeah, in Japan. But instead of making it like some kind of like dark, spooky character, it's more just comedic. Because he's had these interactions with Orange Cassidy and the conglomeration, as well as other people. The most latest one is Leo managed to get himself a selfie with a very reluctant Orange and a somewhat confused Andrade. And he keeps chanting, "The rain! The rain!" And he's got this umbrella with him. It's multicolored because it's Pride Month, I guess. But it's like, he keeps talking about someone's coming, and I'm like, is this just something crazy, or is he? It's fine. He's coming. It's fine. I'm like, is this just like random bullshit, or is there like, is he like John the Baptist, like preceding the coming of Jesus Christ? But instead, it's like Leo Rush. He's telling us someone's coming. We don't know who. And if it turns out to be the it turns out to be the New Day, that would be really funny.
I don't know what it's building to, obviously. I mean, he's still doing stuff on ROH, and like him and Action Andretti had a thing, but I don't know if they ever like turned that into a feud or not. Um, he had his one interaction with Bobby Lashley at Double or Nothing. Um, but yeah, he's just randomly popping up places in the front row in the crowd, or like that segment that you mentioned with uh, the conglomeration where they're just talking, and then Roddy sees the umbrella, and he's like, "What the hell is that? It's bugging the shit out of me." And then he comes out from under the umbrella, and Orange Cassidy is like, "Don't move. If you don't move, he can't see you." Which he
And it
didn't know.
worked. It looked like it worked. And
Yes,
Orange Lady was like, I didn't know that worked. I was saying shit. I didn't know.
he's like, I had no idea if that was true or not. I just was saying shit, and Kyle was like, "Oh well, it worked." And then they did it again during an entrance where they got Tomohiro Ishii to do it, where where
Don't
they're all
move.
just where they're all just walking back up the ramp while he's coming out, and they're all just standing still, frozen. And even Tomohiro Ishii is doing it. It was hilarious. Also, like since we're talking about the conglomeration, they all have like these yearbook photo T-shirts, and now Tomohiro Ishii has one too, where it's just T-shirts of their faces, and it's hilarious.
Well,
Um,
Kyle's photo looks like he was like beaten up after school. So I don't know
yeah,
what happened there. That one.
and Roddy is just him wearing glasses with a mustache, literally just taking a yearbook photo, and then Orange is just Orange. But yeah, it is funny that like they just got Tomohiro Ishii just doing all this stuff, and he's going along with it, which is even funnier. Um, but yeah, who knows what's going on with Leo Rush? I don't even think he does. He's just mumbling the rain, like over and over again. It's fine. It's
It's
fine.
fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
and we don't know what that means, so he just keeps doing it. Um,
It'd be just so wacky if like one day he just comes out and he's just like back to normal again. We
well,
completely forgot all this stuff.
did something like that. He did something like that where he was sitting backstage one day and he was getting interviewed. I
Yeah.
think by um, I don't remember who was doing the interview, but somebody
Mm-hmm.
interviewed him. He was just regular old Leo Rush, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm just chilling, trying to continue to be me and blah blah blah." And then the interviewer walked away and he took the glasses off and then the black goo started coming out of his mouth.
Yep.
So I don't know. I thought it would have been funny if he just continued to team with Action Andretti and then just on the side he was just randomly Gollum for some reason. But no, the crew is no more. The spiky jackets have been retired.
Hmm.
But yeah, so I guess we'll see. We'll see what's going on with him. Hopefully soon. We'll see what's going on with the tag team division as we expect the New Day and the Motor City Machine Guns stand up in AEW once their non-compete clauses are up, which I believe are at end of July. Because they got released in May, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Um, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I am very much looking forward to the New Day coming to AEW. Only because there's so much fresh matches, and the the chains are going to be off. There's no more leash. There's no more like, oh, do we can we approve to get approval to do this thing? It's going to be very different for them in AEW, especially Kofi. Like Kofi's never wrestled anywhere like I mean, yes, he had an indie run before he came to WWE, but not a well-known one. But he's never wrestled prominently anywhere but WWE. So I am intrigued to see what he does outside of WWE, just in general. I mean, like, yes, I mean, I don't think it's going to be that much different. They're just not going to be called the New Day. They're going to be called something different because they can't be called the New Day. But and again, it's not going to be very hard to like get to know them because he can just be Kofi and he can be in Austin Creed, which he owns that. So yeah, I mean, I can't wait. I'm very excited. Obviously, we're gonna see them face the Young Bucks, which that is the dream match right there. Creed versus Kenny in a singles. That's something everybody wants to see. But yeah, like obviously they're gonna face Cope and Christian. They're gonna face the Dogs. They're gonna face the Rascals. Oh, that's gonna be fun. The Rascals and the Rascals have been consistently killing it. They haven't been winning titles or anything, but I guess it's just not the right time. But they are consistently killing it in the ring. So yeah, we will see what happens, but that is going to probably do it for us. There's a lot going on in the wrestling world right now. We're building to big things, especially on the AEW side, and I hope that we could see WWE get better at some point. I don't have very high hopes for that, but because of stuff that we've talked about in the past, I mean, even shitty podcasters are saying WWE is soulless. So, what does that say about the product as a whole? So yeah, that's going to do it for us. Make sure to go to our Linktree /Going Over Big Time Podcast. It has all of the ways to watch and listen to this podcast as well as our social medias for us and the podcast itself. The podcast is now on X, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Facebook, basically all the big ones. And yeah, that is going to do it for me. Alan, give us your closing thoughts.
Yeah, well, thank you for listening to us. Just dissect what's going on in the storylines right now. These are just our own thoughts. I mean, if people don't, have others or disagree with us, you're more than welcome to do so on your own time. But for now, thanks for listening.
Yep, and that is going to do it for us. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.